The Niagara Pumphouse presents its newest exhibit, Looking Back, Forging Forward, Trench Art and Ronald Boaks.
They're mostly sculptures that are made from pieces of metal or wood or other materials that I've collected over the years, and at some point said, hey, this will go with this and this will go with that, and there's the beginning of a sculpture, and then it gets worked on, refined, cleaned up and assembled, and on to the next one.
So where does your inspiration come from?
That's a very good question, but the starting point is always having a very clear mind. So I work better first thing in the morning or after everything else is done and I have free time. Inspiration, it could be the color of somebody's coat. It could be, picking up a piece and saying, wow, this is great. I have something to go with this already. Or it could be, scrounging through the drawers of paper that I have to say, oh, that's a beautiful piece. I can put that with this one. And then, I have several thousand pieces of stuff around to play with. So.
Let's talk about the trench art, a very unique collaboration between history and modern art. Tell me why you decided to bring this to life.
It's mostly the First World War when these pieces were done. I think that their process was similar to mine in that they were playing amidst the upcoming terror of the war of being in a trench. And thanks to their sacrifice, I get to play in luxury. So I'm grateful to them, but the process is really quite similar. They would just play with what they had in hand and be able to assemble it in some fashion. And looking around at these pieces, obviously they had some skill that they brought to the situation in terms of working with metal. And I think somebody was a jeweler in one case. But the work is really interesting for what must have been a very limited studio for them to work in. And like I said, much more dramatic than mine.
Did you know about the trench art and their methods before you started your metal sculpturing, or was it something that you kind of discovered along the way?
The trench art is something I just found out about 2 or 3 months ago. I had never considered what they would do. I know if it were me, I'd just be terrified all the time in a trench. But they obviously had some downtime and had time to play, and they did this work. And I had never seen it before until Lee suggested that we do a show in conjunction with the fort.
So it's an important part of your exhibit is to have that relationship with Parks Canada and the Niagara Historical Museum where you have trench art pieces with you. Why was it important to have that as part of your exhibit?
I think it was just a tie-in. I don't think that there was enough of the trench art because of the nature of it, because there was no space to make larger things. But they needed something and they thought it was an interesting combination. And I agree, it is very interesting.
Obviously, this takes a lot of time. Tell me, what kind of time do you put into these pieces?
The record short time is 10 minutes. The record long time is 15 years. So somewhere in between that is is an average. But sometimes sculptures take several years before they're sort of completed, and I'm just waiting for the right piece. Other times the layout is in the back of my mind, and they happen quickly once I get that piece. But there really is no standard. Everything happens as it happens. It's usually a matter of serendipity that things come together.
Ronald's exhibition is on display until September 29th. For more information, you can visit the website niagarapumphouse.ca. In Niagara-on-the-Lake, reporting for The Source, I'm Lori Taraba.